This is a video answer key, and we're working on page 205, which is 4 or 5, and we're still solving one-step equations, but now we're going to see ones with fractions and decimals, and the format remains the same. When I look at this subtraction, I want to isolate the variable. This is subtraction. I want to use the inverse operation, which is going to be addition, with the same number that's here, 2/3. I'm going to show that with our properties of equality to both sides of the equation. I've made a 0 here. I get to cross that out. Brings down the t on the left-hand side. Over here, I do not have a common denominator. I might come over here for the sake of myself and say, well, if this was t minus 1 equals 26, and I added 1 to both sides, my final answer would be around 27. This is a good estimate to check my work at the end. So here I got to find a common denominator. I have 4 and 3, so I'm going to use 12. I'm going to show how I found it. I'm multiplying 2/3 by 4/4 to get 8/12, and I'm multiplying 3/4 by 3/3 to get 9/12. Okay, I am adding. So 9/12 plus 8/12 is going to give me 17/12, and I still have that whole number of 25. 17/12 is more than one whole cake, so that 12/12 can come out, which will give me one more whole cake, which is 26, and leave me with 5/12 left over, which is pretty close to my estimate over here. So my solution is t equals 26 and 5/12. This next one, we need to remember that the fraction bar means to divide. So this is a division equation. I want to isolate the variable of f. I want to use the inverse operation, which is going to be multiplication. So if I take f and I divide by 2 and then I multiply by 2, property of equality, where I do it to both sides of the equation, that's going to make a 1 here. 1 times f will leave me f on the left-hand side of the equation. Multiplying 5/8 times 2 wholes. 5 times 2 is 10. 8 times 1 is 8. So I get here that f is equal to 10/8. I need to simplify that. So 10/8 is more than one whole cake. I take out that 8/8, giving me one whole cake and 2/8 remaining. We need to be able to see that 2/8 both have a common factor of 2, so I can divide both of those by 2 and get 1/4. My final answer is f equals 1/4. 1 and 1/4. Okay, let's look at the next one. So here we have decimals, but it's still a subtraction equation, just like it was up here. And if I want to estimate, I could say, well, this is like 13 equals t minus 24. What would I do? I'd add 24 to both sides. It's so simple when we're working with integers because they're nice and easy to work with. Our brains work with them a lot, so we feel pretty good about them. So I'm getting an estimate of about 37. Let's come over here. Well, look at the pattern of mathematics. I was like, well, I'm just going to add 24. Well, over here, I'm just going to add 24 and 45/100ths. The pattern remains the same. So mathematics is about patterns, and if you can attack a math problem with the patterns leading to it, that will help. So I bring down the t because I've made a 0 here. 7 plus 5 is 12. Of course, I could use a calculator here, but I'm going to do it by hand today. Regroup the 1. 6, 7, bring down my decimal, 7. Now, I have to work pretty tiny to make all this fit in. If you're a big writer, you may want to do this on lined notebook paper. 37 and 72/100ths is my answer, and it doesn't matter that the t is on the right. I don't have to rewrite this as t equals. This is just as correct as writing it with the variable on the left. I'm going to do 2 more. Right here we have division. Move this up. Division, so I want to isolate the variable. I want to use an inverse operation, which is going to be multiplication by r's friend. I'm going to do that with our property of equality to both sides of the equation. That gives me r times 1, which is just going to be r. And I might have to come over here if I'm doing this by hand. Now you could use a calculator here. to check it as well. 10, regroup the 1, 40, 41, regroup the 4, 5, 9. I'm ignoring these decimal points. I'm treating this as 182 times 55. Oh, well, it's going to be the same thing. 0, regroup, 1, 9. Now, at the end, I need to come back in here and say there was one digit to the right and one digit to the right, so I'm swooping back twice. So R is going to equal 100 and 1/10. And I'm going to drop off this non-place value holding 0.